Cade Anderson, hats off. Cade Anderson. That's going to be what we talk about a lot. I mean, complete game shutout, the first one since Kevin Abel in 2018 to clinch the national championship for Oregon State. Cade Anderson does it here in game number 1 against Coastal Carolina, and he battled his ass off. I cannot wait to talk about this outing from Cade Anderson. He was just magnificent and fought around a lot of trouble, most of it from his own doing, and it just didn't matter. Not only is it the first complete game shutout in the College World Series finals since Kevin Abel in 2018, this is Cade Anderson's second complete game shutout of the season. The first one at Oklahoma, outdueling Kyson Witherspoon on 135 pitches. This one outdueling Cameron Fluke on 130 pitches. His final pitch of the night, 95 miles per hour for the CG Shutt piece. 9 innings, 3 hits, 5 walks, 10 punch-outs. So Cade Anderson ends his LSU career. He ends the season with 180 strikeouts on the season, the third highest total all time in LSU history, trailing only Paul Skeens and Ben McDonald. He was simply magnificent on a night that we knew how the ballpark would play. We knew the wind was going to be galing in. You weren't going to get it out of there. You had to have strong pitching performances, and Cade Anderson delivered. And again, it didn't always look like that at points tonight. You were able to push across one run in the first. You had some other opportunities, but those came few and far between. I do have some thoughts on LSU's offense because I was not crazy about the approach tonight from LSU against Cameron Fluke. So we will get into all of that. And above all, LSU is now 1 win away from national title number 8. One more win, and it's going to be a tough one, and we'll talk about that before we close out the show. Y'all smash the like button, please. If you have not already, get subscribed, YouTube channel, favorite podcast app, all of that greatly, greatly appreciated. And please share. Please share. Let's go ahead and go through it. We will start with Cade Anderson, obviously. He goes out in the first inning, and, man, he gets himself into some trouble. Quite honestly. After Bodine grounds out to third, he walks Alexander, around a ground out, walks Mitchell, but he strikes out Pato swinging. But what we talked about with this Coastal team is the walks. They rely on walks, hit batters, things of that nature to jumpstart their innings. They don't string things together very well because they don't slug. They are going to have to count on hitting 3 singles in a row, 4 singles in a row to do that. So you have to help them. And seeing those 2 walks early, I didn't love that. But he didn't have the command of the fastball. What really saved Cade Anderson early was the secondary stuff, specifically his curveball. The slider came later, but specifically the curveball from Cade Anderson early in that game was awesome. But he gets out of that inning after LSU spots him a run. And Derek Couriel, what an at-bat from Derek Couriel in the first inning. He falls behind 0-2 in a heartbeat and works it back and draws the walk. Fry grounds out, and they must have replayed this like 1,500 times on the broadcast, that they thought the shortstop, could have got the double play. Ultimately, he doesn't try to turn it, and then Stephen Milam comes through with a single to center field on a fastball up in the zone. LSU pushes across their only run of the game. Cade Anderson goes back out for the second inning. Quick ground out, quick pop out, another walk. This is at the bottom of the order, and he punches out Sykes looking. And that was a huge 0. But when I look at Cade Anderson's outing, I look at 3 innings in particular. And one of them was the third. So the third inning, you're back to the top of the order. Caden Bodine's up. He hits him with the pitch. Coastal Carolina has set the NCAA record for hit by pitch this year. And you just hit the leadoff guy. Alexander comes up, serves one to the opposite field, follows it up with the single. But then you had Barthol bunt. And while it was a good bunt, it was a bad bunt for the situation. with a left-hander on the mound falling to third base. He has to get that ball up the first base line. He didn't. Anderson scoops it, tosses to Braswell, and that completely changes the inning because then you strike out Mitchell looking, and you're able to get out of it when Alexander's caught stealing third, and he got a great jump, but he overslid the back. That was a spot where, man, it really could have got hairy for Cade Anderson because Coastal Carolina put the leadoff guy on base in 3 out of the first 4 innings, and right there you had first and second and nobody out with the meat of that order up. He makes a great play on the bunt and gets out of it. That was one key inning. The other one, or the other two, I should say, how about the top of the 4th? Pato comes up, doubles down the line and left. That was a beautiful hit. Michael Braswell's drawn in, and he just rockets it basically right down the chalk line over the base. There's really nothing you could do about it, and you have a leadoff double. And all Cade Anderson does is go strikeout of Thorndike, who has driven in 15 in the postseason, strikeout, looking to end the inning. Leadoff double, K's the side right after that. And then the other inning I would really look at for Cade Anderson and go, man, that one mattered, was the 7th. You had an infield single to short. That was the play where Milam's coming in. Dickinson cuts him off, had to throw across his body, just couldn't get it. Then you have the bunt to move him into scoring position. Sykes grounds out. Bodine grounds out. Cade Anderson escapes it once again. And then, y'all, the 8th and the 9th were relatively easy for Cade Anderson. He just mowed. He could see the finish line in sight, and he locked in and just absolutely went to town. But the way he stranded those runners, and we've talked all year about how great LSU's pitchers have been with runners on base. Coastal Carolina tonight, 0-for. Big goose egg with runners in scoring position. In fact, after in that 7th inning, I'll tell you, Coastal ends up 0-for-9 with runners in scoring position on the night, and I believe 5 strikeouts for them as well. Cade Anderson, without his best stuff, when he really needed to have it, he buckled down and he made the pitches. And that's what I'll remember about this complete game shutout for him, is it just wasn't his best stuff, and it didn't matter because he's such a competitor, and he's so loaded from an arsenal standpoint as a pitcher that when one thing isn't working, he can go to something else. And if that maybe isn't working, he can go to something else. It's set off, and you're remembered for what you do in the postseason. Cade Anderson, in the biggest start of his life, just goes out there and goes complete game shutout. We'll remember it forever, especially if LSU goes on and wins the national championship later this weekend. We will remember that performance from Cade Anderson forever. Cade Anderson issued, I think the way I can demonstrate this best is Cade Anderson walked 5. That's a career high. He hit 2. That's 7 free passes. And it didn't matter. And this is a Coastal team that just thrives off of that. It didn't matter. Because he rose to the occasion. It was great. And the other thing he did, and this goes without saying, we're going to say it anyway, he saved your damn pitching staff. Cade Anderson just bought your pitching staff another day of rest. When you lost your rest day because of the delay, Cade Anderson just got it back for you with that performance, and that cannot be overstated. Just a magnificent performance on the biggest stage in the biggest moment. And you know what? What a way to end his career at LSU, because that's it, y'all. Cade Anderson's done. Even if you get to a game 3, he's done because he just threw 130 pitches. His next stop is professional baseball. And boy, didn't he leave a lasting memory for everybody with that final performance. That's the way everyone dreams of going out. I think the only thing that could have made it better is if it would have been the clinching game to win the national championship. That's it. But the way he just went out and finished his LSU career, complete game, the 10 strikeouts. I mean, how many games is that now this season that Cade Anderson has had 10 strikeouts? I mean, that's just been a theme all year long is the double-digit strikeouts. He adds that to the repertoire here to end it for Cade Anderson. He was just incredible. And I tell you again, where the pitch count was early, he threw 25 pitches in the first inning. But he comes back with a 15-pitch inning, then a 14-pitch inning, then a 13-pitch inning, and he gets it manageable and just extends. There's so many similarities to that one and the one he threw at Oklahoma. Not just the pitch count similarities, but that type of stuff. Cade Anderson, that outing against Oklahoma, he was at 71 pitches through 4, and he got through the complete game. He was in a similar spot in this one through 4. But he gets through it because he just settles in and battles. The competitiveness from him above all. Let's see. Double-digit strikeouts game for Anderson this year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10. And now 11 to punctuate it. Out of 19 starts, 11 double-digit strikeout games. Just magnificent season, y'all. One of the best seasons that we have ever seen from an LSU pitcher. Like, that's up there with Skeens, with McDonald. Like, that's the company Cade Anderson keeps. He's 12-1. That's a great record to end on. I mean, huge. And again, saved your arms. Like, if I would have told y'all in the preview, if I could see the future, right? And we sat down for the preview, and I told y'all, hey, LSU's going to win game 1, and you're going to have Evans, Shores, Myers, Rizzi, Williams, Newt. You're going to have them all available for game 3. Excuse me, for game 2. Y'all would have called me a liar, first of all. I would have called myself a liar. Or I would have thought, okay, LSU won the game like 10-1. No, in fact, it was a 1-0 shutout, and Cade Anderson just let them drag all night long and frickin' put Coastal Carolina in a 9-inning, 3-hour chokehold and just puts a huge exclamation point, and now LSU's 1 win away from the national championship. I feel like you can't say enough. I really do. I feel like you cannot say enough about the performance that Cade Anderson had tonight. Just magnificent. Magnificent. Y'all smash the like button, please. We have 790 people watching and only 104 likes. Smash that like button and please share. Appreciate everybody here. Just what a freaking ball game. Not without stress, but didn't you also kind of feel okay about it because Cade Anderson was just in control late in that game? I thought he was done after 7. I really did. And he comes back out for the 8th, does what he does, and I tweeted it, said, I need Cade Anderson back out for the 9th like I need air. And there he goes, and he was great. He could see the finish line in sight, and he was awesome. LSU's defense tonight, too. Absolutely magnificent. LSU's defense tonight to help out Cade Anderson. Michael Braswell was phenomenal at third base. I mean, phenomenal at third base. Milam sucked up everything. Dickinson sucked up everything. Curiel made a couple really nice plays in the outfield. LSU's defense tonight was great, and that was an awesome bounce back to see after they committed the 3 errors against Arkansas and really got themselves into a hole. That was the LSU defense we're used to all season long. So a tip of the hat to those guys. Offensively, before we get into the bad that I didn't like, and there was enough of that, Stephen Milam was awesome tonight. Milam coming through in the first inning with the sharp RBI single up the middle, that was huge. Obviously, it scored your first run. He was this close. This close. If he has one more spoonful of Wheaties in the morning, that ball's in the bullpen and it's 2-0. And that's how you were going to get one out of that park tonight. A low line drive. Keep it under the wind. That's the only way. And Fluky hung a breaking ball, and Milam put a great swing on it. And, I mean, you could see the indention in the in the top of the wall. He just missed it. The problem is, after that, you have a strikeout looking. And I want to give credit to Cameron Fluky. He was awesome tonight. Like, he really was. Cameron Fluky was great. He mixed his pitches well. He struggled early in the game in the first inning, but, man, he found command. The fastball down in the zone was awesome all night. The hook and the slider, just gross all night long. But, damn it, we talked about this on the pregame, on the preview, and then I was on with Hunt on the pregame show earlier today on Eagle and 104.5, and he asked me kind of about, like, the approach for LSU at the plate, and I said get up there and swing. Cameron Fluky had walked 22 guys in over 100 innings all season. He was going to be in the zone. Get up there and hunt. And even Jay Johnson, when Chris Budden interviewed him in the dugout, by the way, mid-game coach interviews need to go the way of the dodo. They're busy. Leave them alone. Let them coach the damn game. Talk to them after. That's why you have a post-game press conference. Anyway, when Chris Budden interviewed Jay Johnson, he even said, see it early. Like, see it early. Get up there and be ready to go. And LSU just wasn't. I thought LSU was very passive at the plate early in the count. And what that led to was when you had a pitcher like Cameron Fluky, who had his best stuff tonight, you end up incredibly off balance. And that's what happened to LSU. They were guessing. Y'all, I can't remember which at-bat it was. It might have been the at-bat after Milam's double when Jake Brown's up there. He's in a 3-1 count. Here comes Heater. It was, because Milam was on third. He had advanced to third on the pass ball by Bodine. Milam's at third. Here comes Heater. They don't want to put you on because Jared Jones is on deck. And Brown is late on a 3-1 Heater. Like, that, you're guessing. You don't know what's coming at that point. And I think a lot of that had to do with them being passive early in the count. When we were talking on the pregame show, Hunt and I earlier, Hunt gave me a nugget that he had Chris Burke on the show earlier too. And Chris Burke had said that 75% of the time, Cameron Fluky throws fastball on the first pitch. Like, get out there and hunt the damn Heater. And they just didn't. And because he had everything else working, they were guessing at times. And I think that really, really hurt them, obviously, up there at the plate. Because Jay Johnson tried everything. He even gathered everybody in the dugout at one point, right, and tried to go over some plans. They couldn't adjust, and that's really what was most disappointing, is LSU could not make the adjustments they needed to in order to get something going at the plate. I just remembered something else that I wanted to talk about, Cade Anderson's outing. I'll get to that in a moment, so stick around for that. I do want to commend Jake Brown at the end of the game. Hard single off a lefty. That was a great at-bat. Like, as bad as it was for him to be late on the 3-1 Heater, the single off the lefty, Carbone, that was awesome. It was a slider away, and he just was able to stay, closed off enough at the plate to get the barrel to it and actually hook it into right field. You couldn't get anything out of it, but that was really good. It was good to see Dickinson get a knock as well early in the game. But, I mean, your offensive MVP, Stephen Milam. He was on base 3 times, had a double, a single, and your RBI. Offensive player of the game, Stephen Milam. Player of the game, Cade Anderson. The other thing that I wanted to say about Anderson, and then we'll look forward to tomorrow and then take questions, is Cade Anderson first trip through the lineup. Speaking to the issues with command that we talked about him having in that first inning and early in the game, really. Cade Anderson first trip through the lineup, 1 first pitch strike out of 9. Cade Anderson, the second trip to the lineup, he was 9 for 9. First pitch strikes. And that's ultimately, again, why you're able to settle in. He was awesome. He was. Before we moved on to the offense, I said you can't say enough about him, and I ended up coming back to it because you can't say enough about what Cade Anderson did on Saturday night in Omaha. That was magnificent. I mean, you see step-up performances all the time at this time of the year. And on a night where it's just hard to friggin' get anything going offensively, that's the step-up performance you needed, and he was great. All right, looking forward to game number 2. You got to feel good. You got Anthony Ianson going for you. This has been a spot that LSU has won plenty all year long. Having Ianson back up Anderson. You've lost 3 weekends all year, and this is a large reason why. And you have your full complement of the bullpen. That's great too. But one thing I'm very interested in, and I've seen all y'all posted in the chat, the 26-1. Coastal Carolina just lost their first game since, I believe, April 24th. How do they respond? That's a team that could not have been hotter coming into the College World Series and throughout the College World Series. Go Tiger says April 22nd. Thank you. And you poured ice cold water on their fire. Now they have to get off the mat, facing elimination. How do they respond? The other thing that's going to be very interesting is how LSU attacks. Because since that Sunday game in the regional against Little Rock, every time LSU has had an opportunity to close someone out, they have done it. Whether it be West Virginia or Arkansas, now here's your next chance. Jay Johnson has said it ad nauseum throughout this postseason. Everything is training for something. That's one of the big things he preaches, right? And they looked at that and used that as training for something. And they have responded back in that spot every time. Can they do it once more? I like their chances. Now, I would expect a very similar game to what you saw Saturday night on Sunday. Jacob Morrison is awesome. That's a big 6'8" righty that can get the fastball up into the mid-90s. He's got this slider/cutter deal that is just gross. And he's got that same 12-6 hook that Cameron Flukie has. This is the Sun Belt Pitcher of the Year. It's a guy with a 2.8 ERA, a 2.08 ERA. He's legit. He carved up Auburn. He carved up Oregon State. Those are 2 really good teams this year. And especially for him to carve up that Auburn offense to the tune of 1 run, that's loud. So I think you're going to be looking at a very similar game offensively, really from both teams, because I think Anthony Ianson's going to be fantastic too. But I know a lot of you are saying, man, bats has to come alive. Bats have to come alive. It's going to be 99 degrees and that same 25-mile-an-hour wind blowing in from right center field. You're going to have to win another low-scoring game. But I'm fine with that. I think that can favor LSU. Because I'm not going to say you have the starting pitching advantage, but you're not at a disadvantage with Anthony Ianson on the mound. Not even close. Not even close to a disadvantage. So, and then you have your full bullpen and your defense. Your defense is phenomenal. So, I think it sets up really well for LSU. I'd like to see a better approach at the plate. I mean, y'all, Morrison's the same way. Jacob Morrison has walked 22 batters in 104 innings this year. He is going to be in the zone. You have got to attack early in the count and see if you can't make your hay there. Because if you don't and you let that at bat get deep, I think you're going to be baffled again because he's got a pitch mix that is wicked, just like Cameron Flukie. I saw somebody ask about concern with Morrison because, Flukie is the number 2, Morrison's the number 1. Forgive me, I don't know who asked the questions. My answer to you would be, did Flukie look like a number 2? They are kind of in the same position as LSU. Do they really have a number 1 or a number 2, or do they just have 2 dominant starters? I think they just have 2 dominant starters. So, they have really – Fred asked, don't you want to drive up their pitch count? No, I don't. I really don't. They drove up Flukie's pitch count fine tonight, but it didn't matter because they were guessing for half the night with him up there because he just kept getting in advantage counts over and over because they were letting things go by them. You have to attack. This is what I would liken it to. The Saturday game against Arkansas in the regular season when Gage Wood started. Gage Wood, he was coming off of injury, but he had walked 2 guys all year. Like, he's a strike thrower. Hell, you saw that in Omaha when he threw the no-hitter. He's a strike thrower. And LSU attacked from jump in that game, and I'll be damned, you run-ruled Arkansas that night. So, no, I don't want them to run the pitch count up. I want them to go out there and be ready to hit and attack. So, that's what I want. And Morrison's the same type of guy. And if it does get to Sunday, Riley Eichhoff's the same type of guy. They got to go up there and be ready to hit. But look, I'll lay it out for y'all. I think if you can go out there and you get 6 innings from Anthony Ianson, you need 6 innings from Ianson. And then you can go Evans, Shores, and likely close this thing out potentially. Give me 6 innings from Anthony Ianson. That's what I'm asking for because of how rested your bullpen is now. I think 4 runs can win the ball game tomorrow. I really do. I think 4 runs gets it to hell. 1 run got it done today. So 4 runs. And you know what? I'm going to go find this. Jonathan says, Coastal not accustomed to seeing the arms, the quality of Anderson and Ianson. I 100% agree with that. And that is at the end of the preview, when I made my pick, that was the thing. Everyone looked at Flukie and Morrison and those guys and said, yeah, but they haven't faced SEC hitters. They've been pitching in the Sun Belt. I think you saw tonight, they're really good. Like, when you have the stuff and you can move it to each side of the plate and get guys off, you're good. The interesting thing is they have not seen the arms. You don't see Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson running out back-to-back days in the Sun Belt. You're just not accustomed to that. And one of the other big things I liked about LSU in this series as well was Coastal strikeout. They strike out on the season in a quarter of their at-bats. And they struck out 10 times tonight. And by the way, Cade Anderson was the strikeout leader in the nation. LSU as a pitching staff leads the nation in strikeouts. That's an advantage you will have for the rest of this series. Give me 6 innings. 6 innings from Anthony Ianson tomorrow. I think 4 runs is enough, and I think LSU hoists national championship trophy number 8. That is my official prediction. Y'all get some questions in here, and then we'll start to wrap it up. But what do y'all want to know? Questions about anything from the game? We can. Will Corwood says if LSU is down 1 or 2 runs or tied after Ianson, do you see Evans or do you think Jay saves him? You will not see Evans. That if you do not have a lead, Kason Evans is not coming into the game because he is your game 3 starter in that scenario. I think that's a really easy one. I was waiting for that question. Craig, what did you think of the hit by pitch call? Boy, did I piss Twitter off with that. Here's what I think. I love the fact that they finally changed the rule to where the batter doesn't have to make an attempt to get out of the way, because that's stupid. The pitcher's job is to throw it over the plate. It's not the batter's job to bail him out when he can't. So I love that change. The problem I have with the rule, and in Dickinson's case specifically, and first of all, let me be clear, just what I put on Twitter, I think by the letter of the rule, it was the right call. By the letter of the rule, it was the right call. Clear? Okay, clear. The problem is the rule. You could see on the replay, Danny Dickinson's elbow clearly moved down into the path of the ball. So he was not going to beat that allegation. He just wasn't. Like, the evidence is right there. The issue is they call it an intentional hit by pitch. So now, in that situation, where Dickinson's making what is a normal move for a hitter, you have to determine intent, which is impossible to do. It's why we all hate the targeting rule in college football, because you can't determine a player's intent. I don't think Danny Dickinson intentionally tried to get hit by the ball, but his elbow did move down into the path of the ball, and if his elbow didn't, he would not have been hit by the pitch. And when you replay it, by the letter of the rule, it is the right call. It sucks. It's a bad rule. It goes back to what I said about where they changed it to where the batter doesn't have to get out of the way. You know what a big problem is? If the pitch is in the frickin' batter's box, it doesn't matter. You missed that bad. I don't care if the kid throws his whole body in front of it. You threw the ball in the batter's box. That's your bad. But that's not the rule. And by the letter of the rule, it was the right call. And it sucks. Like, that sucks. So those are my thoughts. I think the rule's terrible. But I think it was enforced correctly by the way that it's written. All right, more questions. I knew somebody was going to ask that. That's why I didn't address it on my own. And plus, everyone's responses on Twitter came in so fast, I couldn't even read all of them. But I'm sure they were very positive. Chris says, talk about how big Braswell was in the field. He was massive. Y'all, look, I sat not right here. I wasn't in Destin, Florida. I was on Government Street. But I sat on this show and debated the Reeves Braswell said and think it's not even a conversation for me. It's Michael Braswell. Like, okay, he's hitting 180. I don't care. You saw how valuable that glove is over there. He made the first, 2-3 plays of the game? And then that play late in the ball game from Braswell, where, he was playing no doubles. Like, he's almost straddling the foul line, ranges over, all in one motion on the run, double clutches a little bit, and still has enough on the throw to get it there. That was in the ninth inning. He's special. Like, I want him at third base. And again, the other thing is, you've made it this far. You're one win away from a natty with him hitting like that. It hasn't impacted you. Like, it hasn't cost you anything. So why take his glove out of the lineup? It doesn't make any sense to me, and I thought he was massive. Like, I thought he was absolutely massive. Cameron says, why do you think Danny didn't let Milam take that play? Yeah, man, that's a good question. The only player on the infield that should ever cut in front of the shortstop is the third baseman. That's it. And that's only on a certain ball that's hit right there in the middle of the 6-hole. That's it. Everything else on the second base side of the bag, I don't care what shift you're playing, and that's modern day baseball because everyone in love with the stupid shift. But I don't care what shift you're playing. That's the shortstop's ball. His momentum's taking him to first base, everything. I guess Milam didn't call it early enough. I don't know. But Milam shouldn't have to call that ball. It's his ball. I mean, it's his ball. All right, y'all get a few more in here. Please smash the like button. Appreciate everybody hopping on tonight, man. That's a huge win. This has been a great run, and hopefully they finish it off on Sunday. I really believe that they will. Christian K says way too many 0-2 counts without swing. Yes, I mean that's what I was talking about earlier, Christian. They got themselves early. CloudZach says, are you doing a post-game show tomorrow? Of course. And you know what? With it being a day game, I might do it from the balcony with Little Emerald Coast in the background. We'll see. Depends on if it's raining or not. Could be raining. Bomb Tech says Jones will be big tomorrow. I agree. I mean, I have the same feeling about that I did with him against Arkansas. Said it on the post-game shows. Expect him to bounce back. There was a Josh Pearson question. Do we see Josh Pearson pinch hit tomorrow? Maybe. The situation has to call for it. Jay's not going to just, it's going to Cheddar Goblin, do you like this iteration of the lineup? Yeah, it was fine. I like it a lot. I think it's probably their best lineup. I like having Brown in there, obviously. This is what I did want to say this. Actually, I meant to say this too when I was talking about looking forward to tomorrow. I need more from Fry and Stanfield. Especially with the wind blowing in like it is, those guys have to right the ship. I mean, each of them have 2 hits in Omaha this week so far. I mean, let's see. Fry is now 2 out of 14. Stanfield is now 2 out of 13 in the College World Series. You need more from those guys. I wouldn't. I mean, I know, like, what do you do with Braswell? But I just love Stanfield in the 9-hole so much, and he thrived there. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll have to see maybe if they make that little bit of a change. Maybe you experiment moving Fry down in the lineup, move Milam up to the 2-hole potentially, or maybe move Stanfield up to the 2-hole and move Fry down. There's a few things I think you could do with the lineup for game number 2. There's a few things, but we'll see. But I mean, I like the guys you have in there. I like the 9 guys, if that makes any sense. Let's see. Boy, these are coming in. Christian K says, I thought the yellow line was a home run. No. The yellow line is a home run in the sense where if there's something above it, it has to clear the yellow line, especially when, I mean, it hit inside the park. Like, that can't be a home run. It has to go over the fence to be a home run. So, no, I mean, that was the right call. God, one more scoop of Wheaties for Milam. Let's get him one more scoop Sunday morning. See if that ball doesn't get out of there. What a game, y'all. That was fantastic. I loved that. That was awesome. Kate Anderson, hats off. Like, is that the best final appearance in an LSU uniform for a pitcher ever? Like, I don't want to be, like, hyperbolic, but was it? I mean, Paul Skeen's last appearance was the Skeens Louder game, and he was awesome there. 8 shutout innings, like, he was great. And Skeens obviously was great all year. But, I mean, complete game shut piece in the Natty for your final walk off the mound? Yo, that's so good. That's so good. Bomtech, he didn't pitch in the finals, but he was Skeens Louder, bro. Like, that was a massive game. David Naka and $2 super chat. Will we see Larson or Pearson tomorrow? Situation in the game, guys. I mean, it's there. Jay's not just going to put someone in there willy nilly. It has to make sense. So we'll see. Maybe we'll see. Man, what a ball game! 1 win away. 1 win away from number 8. I'll say it one more time to close the show. Give me 6 innings from Anthony Ianson, 4 runs, and I think LSU hoists the national championship trophy on Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. Said I liked him in 2. I still do. We'll be here after the game. Y'all smash the like button on the way out. Please share, subscribe, follow on social media, Twitter, X, at Musso Matthew, Instagram, Facebook, all of those things. And be here next time for more on Musso at the Box.